Hello, welcome one and all to totally not half-assed content. Today we are going to review shit. Today we are going to take a look at my three self-mocks. We've got, from left to right, Tearr, Spinal, and Stryker. I don't know which one to review first. You know what? Start with technically the eldest, which surprisingly isn't Tearr, and surprisingly isn't Spinal. His Spinal was made in like 2018, I want to say. We're gonna take a look at Stryker first. Stryker he's red. As you can see, he is a whole bunch of leagues above our previous catastrophe of previous catastrophe of Stryker is a lot better than our first introduction to the whole review scene. However, this guy isn't without his faults. First of all, this is his hand. One of his hands, anyway. Very good. And the main reason for that is because I didn't have any more of those T-pieces that you would get in like the Hydraxon set. I actually got those from the Ninjago set, but I since lost a couple, so now I only have two. So for now, I'm gonna have to work with this. But either way, I could still pose his hand all the same to get some pretty interesting poses. This clearly isn't a pose, but I'll throw something on screen. And of course, you can either leave it like this, if you really want to, or you could do what I usually do and clench it up into a fist. To me, for some reason, he very strongly resembles Xerxes. If you know who Xerxes is, then you'll know this isn't Xerxes at all, but for some reason this gives me strong Xerxes vibes. It might just be the rock she had, which I will also mention is just plastered on there with clay that they kind of need to bake in order for it to harden. So this could fall off in any second. The reason for that is because the peg, the axle, whatever the frick you want to call it, this broke. What I decided to do here is I decided that this should be a sort of arm blade. So just do that, and then you have an arm blade for Stryker. Cool. But yeah, outside of that, there's really nothing too interesting about Stryker here. What you see is pretty much what you get. Pretty basic build. Yeah. On to the next character in our self-mock review journey. We have one of the OGs. Again, a lot of these are OGs. This is a character that I've had for quite some time. Matter of fact, I think he was around ever since... he was around basically ever since I made that one very outdated version of Tearr back on DeviantArt. Not very fond memories. But now, when you look at him, he's gotten a serious upgrade and no longer looks like a knockoff Mangle. First of all, his head, it has just a ball joint at the base of the head and the base of the neck instead of ball joint craziness. And he has actual arms with a hand design that is based off of those Dark Hunters from I forgot where. And he has, I'm gonna tear off your leg for a second, fully custom legs, which is something that I am actually proud of. The thigh is not perfect, but the shin, the lower leg, what the hell you want to call it, yes, that is perfect. And of course, because I don't have a lot of these other pieces, and by a lot of these other pieces, I mean these olive green, sand green, some kind of green piece right there in the neck. His tail only has 1, 2, 3, 4 segments. I seriously need to draw this guy. Pretty much it for him. Not a whole lot to talk about. Again, what you see is what you get, just a little bit more complex. But if you want to talk about unspectacular, this guy is a serious punching bag in Dungeons & Dragons for some reason. And he has gone through not that many design overhauls, except for one complete redesign of this body here. And then I ended up just sticking within plastering on new limbs. Spinal, pretty basic. His color scheme, he's got white, black, red, sort of darker red. That's really about it. The thing about Spinal, however, is he actually has a weapon of choice that's supposed to come off with it. You take this, you put it right there, and then you take this, you put it right, right there. And now he has his trusty mace. Sort of. It's a bit of a bitch to get this guy posed correctly with his mace sometimes. However, once you do it, you'll realize that, being an absolute drama queen. Kinda hard doing this whole review thing. Yay. Now, because this is my channel, and because I'm a hack, I'm gonna talk about articulation. Yeah. For basically all of them, you have a ball joint at the head, and then you have another ball joint at the base of the neck, which in Stryker's case allows him to look up really far, and then he can look down also pretty far. In Spinal's case, ball joint at the head is a bit limited, but the ball joint at the base of the neck is still pretty good. You can still look up that far and look down also that far, but I don't think that's natural. And for Tearr, he can look back absurdly far, he can look down absurdly far, and he can also open his mouth. Each of them have a ball joint at the shoulders, which allows them to rotate. The arm moves out like that. I believe the arm moving out varies from character to character, but Tearr's arm can move all the way out like that. I'm gonna hate myself for this. And just like that, I am never making that joke again. But yeah, there's a ball joint at the elbow, if you want to use it. If you don't, why the hell did you make this guy in the first place? Bend at the elbow, if you want to. You could break it, because that's just how the arm's designed. For all of them, close your mouth. For all of them, there's a ball joint at the wrist. In some of their cases, you have moving fingers, like Tearr here. To bring back Stryker, you have a moving thumb, which can also swivel, like so. And then you saw what the other fingers could do. How awesome. Spinal, on the other hand, yeah, his hand doesn't do anything. Each of the characters feature a ball joint at the waist at varying points, which allow for arcing back that looks weird as hell, and a crunch, which also looks kind of weird. Each character features a kick, a really good kick. I forgot how weird basic posability is sometimes on these Bionicle mocs. Can't move back really far outward. Spinal can almost do the full splits. The others have no problem. Each of the characters feature a bend at the knee. I think this guy has the deepest bend at the knee, but I could be wrong. Then you have a ball joint at the ankles, which allows for some up, down, pivot, swivel, all that good jazzy stuff. However, for Tearr, he actually has individual toes. He's a crocodile, yippee! And again, in Tearr's case, he has a ball joint right there. Allows for tail articulation. Now, another shitty review out of the way. Sorry if I sound demotivated. This setup is actually something I'd like to call the Jobless Moving Simulator. Because I move out in like a month and I still don't have a goddamn job.